Hello, and welcome to the Carla Knits Podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Sunday, February 5th, and I'm so glad you're joining me. So if you're new, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much for returning to watch today. Today is kind of a special episode for me. This is the 2-year, when this goes up, hopefully tomorrow on the 6th. February 6th is the date of the first podcast, which I recorded in 2021. So this is the 2-year podiversary anniversary. So podiversary anniversary, the anniversary of the first podcast that I recorded 2 years ago. So if you saw in the thumbnail, Jeff and Jenna made sure that I had a little goodie here to celebrate the podcast. So I have a brownie with some pink candles in it for the special podiversary. So thank you to Jeff and Jenna for being so sweet and doing that. So welcome. I'm so happy that you are here today to catch up on what I have been up to lately. Just a couple of things at the top of the episode. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry. I am cbcraftygirl on both of those places. And for this podcast, we do have a Ravelry group, and we have several things going on in there, or we have had several things. We will continue to have things going on in the group. So first thing, we have 2 current make-alongs going on. So one is the Love Your Stash make-along for 2023. All the rules and everything I talk about will be linked down below. So the rules or guidelines, how to participate are linked in the description box down below. But just using your stash, so anything in your stash prior to 2023, this could be yarn, this could be patterns. If you have a project and you're adding new yarn, as long as you're using an old pattern or using old yarn, you can combine old and new yarn. So I hope you will join us. There are already, several finished objects and some chatter going on, which is just great. So hope you'll join in if you are one of the knitters and crocheters who are really excited about using their stash this year. That seems to be a common theme I have discovered among us knitters and the knitting podcasts that I watched. That's kind of the theme this year, is enjoying your stash. Yep, enjoying what you already have. So I hope I will do well with that too. The other make-along is the blanket make-along. And I intended this to be a make-along for, it was to be an encouragement for myself. I have 4 blankets currently in the works in various stages. And so, I know some of you have blankets that you might have been working on for a number of years. Or if you're starting a new blanket, we've had advent calendars. So if you're starting a scrappy blanket with some mini skeins, that would be great. Baby blankets, a blanket from start to finish is great. So again, that will be linked in the description box down below. And we did have a make-along wrap up at the end of January. This was the Adventurous MAL2023 that I co-hosted with Heidi from Yarn It Heidi. And this was, so December 1st to January 31st. So using those advent skeins, using advent self-striping skeins of yarn for socks. Any of those things. So it was a 2-month make-along. And I have drawn winners. So I will announce them here, and you win a pattern prize of your choice on Ravelry up to $10. So this is for each of you. I have chosen one from the chatter thread and one from the finished object thread, and I just did a random number generator. So from the chatter thread, there were 2 through 44 posts, and it chose post 44, which was Bork P and that's Peggy. And I know you had several items that you were working on during Advent. You amazed me. And you got another pair of socks in that you shared in that chatter thread right at the end. So Bork P. Peggy, if you'll contact me with a pattern choice. And then in the finished object thread, there the number generator went from 2 to 24, and it chose post number 22, and that is Norma G. So Norma, congratulations to you as well. And if you just want to contact me with a pattern of your choice, and I will gift that to you on Ravelry. So congratulations to you ladies. That was really fun. I don't think I participated as much as I would have liked to have, but I really loved seeing all of your beautiful things. I love knitting socks, so especially seeing all of the beautiful, colorful socks was just fantastic. That was great. And thank you to you, Heidi, too, for co-hosting this with me. This was fun. All right. What I am wearing today, this is a sweater that I knit. Oops, I've got a kitty cat hair. This is a sweater I knit in 2021. This is the Lola Chic sweater by Annie Lupton, and I knit it out of Barocco Vintage DK. I don't wear it too often. It turned out a little bit more cropped than I would have liked, which completely my fault. I should have knit longer, but it was one of these from the bottom up. But today I have it paired over a dress with some leggings. So I wore it to church this morning, and I think it's a pretty cute outfit. So a very, very comfortable sweater. Yeah, so I should have been wearing this more often this winter, so I hope that we still have some chilly weather to come so I can, put this outfit together again, because it was kind of fun pulling this out of the closet. All right, let's see. I have a couple of finished objects for today, and I'm going to share my big one that I've already shared on Instagram, but if you haven't seen it on Instagram, I will show it here. Just make sure. So it's supposed to be reversible, but let's see. So this is my mini me shawl that I spent the majority of my time knitting in the month of January. And it's pretty long. Let's see. I'll try to hold it so you guys can see the texture. So the Mini Me Shawl by Cozy Up Knits. This was their mystery shawl knit along for the month of January. This is something that they have done, I think now for 6 years, where a new clue to the pattern came out each week. How does that look? Yeah, that's cute. So a new clue to the pattern came out each week over the course of 5 weeks. And let's see, I absolutely love how this turned out. It is so bright and colorful. At first, when I picked my colors, I knew I wanted these colors to go together. I had a mini skein set that I wanted to be using, and then I kind of looked in my stash for a full skein, but I didn't find anything that kind of went with the colors, so I did buy a full skein towards the end of December, and I thought maybe this would be a little too bright, but I absolutely love it. So the yarn, there is a, let's see, the lavender color in here that kind of goes throughout. That is by Fiber MacGyver in the Thistle colorway. And then the mini skeins throughout are part of this mini skein set by Dilette Studio, and it's in the Christie in Wonderland colorway. And the only one that's not is this bright neon yellow, which was called Neon Dreams, and it was by it is by Weird Sisters Wool Emporium. And I had knit a pair of socks, and I don't remember if it was 2022 or 21, but I had knit a pair of socks in that bright yellow. So over the course of each week, you would knit these different textured sections. And I know I shared at the very beginning the seed stitch was absolutely not my favorite. It was very, very monotonous and time consuming. I absolutely loved the lace portion in here. That was a super fun week. I loved this button stitch, which I don't know if you can see that. It is reversible, so on the back, this side has the button stitch. I loved that. While I love the look of this twisted rib, it was not my favorite to execute. And twisted rib on the back there in that bright pink section. The border, however, I really enjoyed doing the border. You had your choice of doing a garter stitch border or a stockinette border, and it either had this lace pattern in, and I blocked it so it kind of has that picot edge look to it. So I absolutely loved doing the edging to this. So again, I'm really, really excited with how this shawl turned out. I think it's very much Carla colors. But I think for now I'm going to take it off because it's too warm with a sweater. So that is my shawl, and very, very happy with that. If you can't tell, because I think I've said that a number of times, but very excited to have that done. That was definitely a labor of love, and it definitely took the most of my time in the month of January. So it was very fun, but it feels like a big accomplishment to have that off the needles and blocked. I have one more small finished object. I just needed to cast on something new and cast it on and finished it. And this hasn't been blocked. I just wove in the ends last night. But it is this hat. And I don't know if I should try this on, being unblocked and everything. That's kind of cute. So this hat, let's see. This is by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits. So thank you for another great pattern. This is a free pattern of hers on Ravelry. Let me see what this is called, if I get this right. Hermione Toad. Yeah, Hermione Toad Everyday Hat. And I think the reason for the toad was it looks like, Darcy, you did a collaboration with Toad Hollow Yarns. Thus the name, but I'm calling it Hermione's Everyday Hat. But I knit this out of Madeline Tosh fingering held double. It is a DK weight hat, and so fingering in the Outlander colorway. I don't know if you remember, but on my last episode with the shawl that I had made, that was the burgundy, the mauve, and then the creamy speckled, I had run out of my speckled yarn, just towards the end of my striping section. And so I broke into this because this coordinated well with my Lolo Did It Dowager Countess. So I broke into this, but then I had this skein wound, and it's like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't just want to throw it in my drawer because it's, basically not used very much. I only used it for, I think, 2 or 3.5 rows. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna knit a hat. I'm pretty sure I have enough for a hat. So I found this pattern in my favorites on Ravelry and decided to do this. I hope you can see that fun texture on there. Very simple, but very pretty. And I'm anxious to see how it blocks a little bit. I think it would be really pretty with a, I think I would really like a burgundy color pom-pom on the top, but there are just some beautiful speckles of color and some beautiful texture to that. So Darcy, another beautiful hat. Thank you. So those are my 2 finished objects. I'm just looking at my mirror over here for my hair. Sorry. So 2 finished objects for today. So going into my whips, because I finished that hat, I hadn't really intended to. I only have 2 whips that I am currently working on. So it sounds like because I finished a shawl and because I finished a hat, it seems like it's a good time to cast on something. So I should treat myself and cast on something new this week, don't you think? But this is the sock that I am working on. I am just using the marker to notate after the cable round. So that helps me keep track of how many rounds before the next cable round. But you saw the other sock as a finished half object on the last episode. So this is the So Simple Sport Sock by Glenna C. And this is a pattern on Ravelry. I can't remember if it's a free pattern or not now. So I'm losing my train of thought. I am using Madeline Tosh, and it's Work Sock, and it's much more of a sport weight yarn in the Cosmic Silver colorway, and the speckles are just so much fun. And you can see that beautiful cable there. And I still have a Christmas marker that I'm using. I think that's by Simply Serving, a plate of cookies that I got a number of years ago. You know, I don't know why I haven't been gravitating towards this sock. You know, normally I would just pick up a sock when I need to, you know, have something quick to go. And I think just because it has that cable round in it, that's been throwing me. You know, I haven't wanted to pick it up necessarily very often, but it's silly because it's so simple. So I'm not really sure, but I worked on it a little bit this morning before church. Last time I showed it, it was basically just cast on. So I have made some progress on it. But because it's a thicker weight, it really should be done. But I'm saying I got 2 shawls done in the month of January, so that's okay. So I hope to get this sock done within the next couple of weeks. I think that would be great. I have so much yarn. So while this says this is a sport weight, you know, closer to a sport weight, it is still categorized as a fingering. And I believe, see, that's a horrible cake. Sorry, it's pretty messy. But it comes, I think, with 420 yards. So I may have enough left to do a whole nother, you know, pair of socks. You know, if nothing else, a shorty pair, but I'm thinking maybe even a regular pair of socks. So, but this has been in stash for a long time. So really excited to be getting that out. So yeah, so with my hat, that was a skein of yarn that I'd had in my stash for a long time, and this pair of socks. So it does feel good to be using that stash. The other whip I currently have is a crochet work in progress, and this is my One More Chapter Infinity Scarf. This is by Melissa Fisher of Woods and Wool. She is currently hosting a minis crochet along on Instagram and in her Facebook group using one of her patterns that features mini skeins. And so I chose the Infinity Scarf, although the shawl and the blanket were beautiful too, but one more blanket I cannot handle. So I don't remember where I was at last time, except I think I was very close to the beginning, but here it's been twisted up in my bag for a little while. So essentially it is 36 stripes, or it will be 36 stripes, and then I will loop it together for an infinity cowl. I have 26 of the stripes now. The cowl goes through, I think, February 16th or 19th. So I am well on my way. I absolutely love the colors. So some of these were full mini skeins. Some of these were leftovers in my, full mini skeins. Some were leftovers in my stash. A couple were full skeins of yarn that I just decided I was going to break into. So I will share a couple of these that I know what they are that are particularly special to me. This purpley color is a Wool and Vine skein of yarn called Love Song. And I think that was the first skein of Wool and Vine hand-dyed yarn that I ever bought. And so that was very special. I have used, I did not make one big project with that skein of yarn. I used it in my Maritimo by Caitlin Hunter. I used it in my, is it Simple Cardi or Simple Hug Cardi by Cozy Up Knits. I used that as one of my colors in there. And now I have it as a stripe in here. So that skein of yarn, it has been in several projects. That's really fun. This peach colored speckled yarn is the Yarn Bee Authentic Hand Dyed that I made a sweater out of last year. I can't think I can't think what the sweater is now. Oh, it's by This Bird Knits. Oh, I can't remember, but a short sleeve sweater that has some lace work on the top. So I really love that one. This speckled yarn I also used on my Maritimo, and that was a hand-dyed yarn by Amy of Noble Character Crafts. I don't remember the colorway. Not sure about that pink. This light purpley, which I don't know how well it's showing up, is a Lolo Did It in a Downton Abbey colorway that I knit a pair of socks out of last year. This is a Woolberry Fiber Co., which similar to the Woolen Vine, I've used in a number of different projects. So not one big project, but a number of different projects. Yeah, and I think those are the ones I can remember right now. This is a skein that I broke into. Oh, this is Primrose Yarn Company, which I've just been saving forever and ever. But I liked how the colors played with these colors, so I just broke into it. So that's another one that I'm only using about 20 grams. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that big cake of yarn. So that is the one that has the most in it. You know, I would say a pair of socks, but it does have the cashmere in it. So I don't, you know, I know some of you knit socks with cashmere in it, but do you recommend that, or would it be better off in something else? I'd be curious. So it's I think an 80-10-10, you know, wool, nylon, and cashmere. It would make a lovely pair of socks though. It truly would. Or it may just have to sit for a bit till it knows what else it wants to become. But I'm excited to be using that in this project. So just a very simple, repetitive crochet stitch. And I really like how that is turning out. So that is about 3/4, almost 3/4 of the way finished. That is definitely the project that I have been gravitating toward, just because it's a little, well, I guess in my mind, I thought it was simpler than the sock, but maybe not really. But those are my works in progress. So it's definitely feeling like it's time to cast something on. I talked to my mom yesterday, and she asked if I have been working on any of my blankets, you know, the big granny stripe one. The answer is no, but I hope to get back to that. And she asked about the blue blanket that was started by Just Grandma. No, I have not started on that yet either. So I hope to. I hope to. I knew in January I definitely wanted to do the Cozy Up Knits shawl make along. Excuse me. And then that crochet cowl kind of caught my eye in January, so I thought I'm going to do that. So some different things held my focus in January, but we'll see what I get up to in this month of February, besides finishing a couple of those works in progress. I do want to announce another knit along that I am going to be co-hosting with Britnee of the TurtleBurger podcast. Hi, Britnee. Yeah, we decided, we were talking probably before Christmas, maybe in the fall, I don't remember. But we talked about doing a Love Note make along. She has made one before, and I think she is going to re-knit hers. She is working on one, I think, for her daughter as well. This is a sweater that I have had in my library, I think, since either 2020 or 21, and I've wanted to make it. I think the thing that is holding me back, that has held me back, is the fact that there's a provisional cast on. Oh, I should show you the, so like I said, the thing that was holding me back was the provisional cast on. And you know, I'm intending to use, sorry for crinkle, to use fingering weight held with mohair, which I am just not sure how well that will do with you know, with a provisional cast on. I just don't know. But this, let's see, this is by Sweet Tea Yarns, Molly Klein. And this pretty color is called Eggnog. I just thought the speckles were so pretty in this. And I think this was on sale around Christmas time. So it was just so beautiful. So I have a couple skeins of this. And then I have this mohair, which I had gotten on Etsy on a D-stash. This is Sorella yarn. This is the mohair silk, 459 yards. It says double scoop from the birthday collection. So I thought those two would be a really fun pairing for the Love Note. I do have a question for you guys. So I do intend to start this Love Note, and I said we were going to do the make along, and I kind of got sidetracked. We are starting on February 14th, Valentine's Day, to go along with the love theme, Love Note. I used to love Valentine's Day as a kid, and you know, getting the cards and making the cards. That was just super fun. So it starts on February 14th, goes through April 14th. We figured 2 months was probably a good length of time to make one. So if you would like to join us, very informal Cal, I will have one thread, you know, a generic general thread for discussion and finished objects on my channel or in my Ravelry group, and Britnee will have one in her group as well. So participate in both of our groups. Just a fun thing to, you know, do a little make along together. If any of you have made the Love Note, and if you have tips about either the provisional cast on, that would be great, or I am thinking about just doing the ribbing first and going in. So looking at the numbers at the end, casting that number on, doing the ribbing, and then going, you know, doing some increases to get to the correct number. So I don't know if I've been that adventurous before, but yeah, the provisional cast on just does not thrill me. So, because it does even talk in the pattern about if you don't like your neckline, you can unpick your, and I'm like, you know, unpick your ribbing or something. And I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do that at all. Not with mohair in it. So I'd rather just cast on my ribbing from the beginning. So I think on a day when I can focus, if I can focus, I would like to sit down, you know, and really study this pattern and figure out how to do that. So if you have any tips, if you did your Love Note that way, that would be super great. All right. I guess just a little bit of chatter today. So the Love Note will be the next thing. Well, I don't know if it'll be the next thing cast on, because that's still over a week away from today. So I don't know. I think another pair of socks really wants to jump on the needles. I'd love to hear what you're knitting on, what you're doing, or crocheting. I would love to hear about that. Just a little bit of chatter. It's been a busy couple of weeks with teaching as we're settling into the, you know, the new year. Things are kind of settling into a routine. So very busy with mostly the kids down at the elementary school. They keep me very busy. Yeah, I come home pretty tired because, yeah, but it's a lot of fun. I bring home some good stories to share with my family from some cute things that little ones say. It's pretty fun. I guess no news to report yet on the job front. I know some of you have been reaching out to me, so I really don't have anything to share at this point yet, but I certainly will when things are decided and settled in a final manner. So I certainly will share that, but I do appreciate you all reaching out, you know, to me and asking about me and thinking about me. That has meant a lot, because that is certainly something that has been on our mind for quite some time now. So I do definitely appreciate that. And I know some of you reached out when we were supposed to travel, and we ended up not being able to travel because of weather. So we had started out and the weather was turning bad. So I know when I podcast last, I talked about traveling, and we ended up going and turning around partway through our trip. So thank you for all your thoughts and prayers and concerns about that. I really appreciate it. Something fun I did last weekend and that I'm going to do this afternoon is they're offering line dancing classes at our library, and it sounded like so much fun to me. So I decided to do it. And Jenna was like, "Oh, Mom, you're going to be the oldest one there with all these young kids." And no, I was definitely on the younger side of things. So I'm okay with that. There were a couple of college age students, but no, there was a good range from probably, 20s up through, I suspect, 80s. So it was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. Not super coordinated, but I was able to pick it up and just really enjoyed doing that. I have tried my hand this week or the last 2 weeks at doing some drop spindle spinning. I know I shared this on the podcast a long time ago that this is something I would like to learn. And so, through watching videos, I've been trying to teach myself, but I am just really not getting the hang of it. So I have a friend, Jane, who is going to help me. So I'm going to meet with her at some point this week for a spinning lesson. She is what I would consider a master spinner. She does drop spindle, she has a spinning wheel, and she has spun a lot. So I am looking forward to getting together with her. I tried on my own, and finally I reached out and I said, "Jane, would you be willing to teach me?" So she graciously said yes. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully can report on that on the next time I podcast. So happy podiversary to all of you who have followed this podcast, and some of you maybe for 2 years. Thank you so much. It just means the world to me that you come back and watch and see what I'm up to, and you comment, and you join the Ravelry group. You reach out to me on Instagram. I love the friendships that I have made through this channel. This has been, just a blessing. So thank you to all of you who make this very special for me. There is one more thing that I thought about while I was just talking. My Etsy shop. So some of you may be wondering about my Etsy shop where I sell project bags. So the last time I had it open was right before Christmas time, and I have put it on vacation mode right now. I am not sure if I am going to continue. I'm not saying that I'm closing it for good, but at this point, I don't have anything in there. And I have just found, from when I started this last year, my work situation was very different. I had much more time at home. And now currently I am out of the house 4 days a week with my teaching, and then sometimes my weekends with playing the organ. So I do not have as much time to do sewing, and then that would cut into my knitting time, which, that's my first love. So so at this point there are no bags in the shop, and I don't know that there will be for the foreseeable future, but if things change, I certainly will keep you updated on here and on Instagram. And if you've supported the shop in the past, I thank you so very, very much. I really appreciate you doing that. So I hope that you are all doing well. Winners, contact me with your pattern choice from the Adventurous MAL. If you'd like to join in the Love Note make along, we'll be starting that in another week. Love to hear what you're working on. Love your thoughts on the Love Note. I hope you are enjoying your knitting and crocheting or whatever crafty thing you are up to. So with that, I'll say goodbye and hope to see you really soon. Take care.